The irrevocable trust, you as the trustee say, I am the trustee of my trust.
I am the trustee of my trust.
I don't know. Y'all ain't had no coffee today. I ain't messing with y'all. All right. I ain't messing with y'all. So, unlike the revocable trust, an irrevocable trust generally cannot be modified. So, whatever you establish as the parameters, when you, at its inception, right, it stays that way. There is no flexibility. The inflexibility is offset by several substantial advantages, particularly in the terms of asset protection and tax benefits. This is why we're going to do this, right? Somebody wants to sue you personally. They can get nothing because you have nothing. Remember, we own nothing, but we control everything. So if you're sued personally, no one can go after the assets that have been delineated for your children, right? Even if the government is trying to come after you for what they perceive that you owe them, all of this stuff is protected in the irrevocable trust. Once assets are placed into an irrevocable trust, they are typically removed from the grantor's taxable estate. Do you understand what that statement means? You can no longer be held liable for a tax liability that has been placed in a trust outside of your personal estate, potentially reducing the estate taxes and providing a more efficient tax planning. Furthermore, assets within an irrevocable trust are usually protected from the grantors or the creditors, offering a layer of financial security for both. Now, I want to say something that I heard the other day. We do not pay collection agencies at all. Y'all understand that?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because you did not sign a contract with them. You're not in any agreement with them. Y'all understand that?
What about
Yes.
student loans?
What about what?
Student loans.
There's a way to deal with that as well. So if your student loan has been given to a bill collector that is not part of the original entity, you don't have to pay that either. Now, hear me, caveat. I'm not saying do not pay your bills. You understand? I'm not saying that, right?
Yes.
Thank you for answering, Tam. Right? But what I'm saying is, if you find yourself in a financial situation and your debt is purchased by a collection agency, they have no legal obligation to come after you. Why? Because they don't have a wet signature or an agreement or a DocuSign or on a ledger stating that you are in agreement to pay for a service or pay for equipment or pay for something that you purchased through credit and now not able to pay it. Y'all understand that? The collections agency's only business is to convince people to pay a debt that they don't owe to that entity. So they buy this debt for pennies on the dollars, and they use all kind of unscrupulous tactics to collect that money. It's a business model. Y'all understand now?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
They will say that they will sue you too.
Try.
Put a lien on your house, all type of stuff, you
Try.
know.
Where Erica at? Erica. Where's Erica? Erica. I love when they call me. Because the first thing I tell them, I need for you to provide the document that I signed that says that I have an agreement with you. And if you can't provide that, if you're attempting to put anything in my credit report, I dare you. And number two, stop calling me, stop emailing me. Don't send me any more correspondence. And they stop. Okay? You had a Macy's card when you was 25. By the time you was 28, you blew it up, and then you couldn't afford it because you had other real obligations. And so Macy's sells off your debt to one of these crooked collection agencies, and they try to collect the debt from you, and they use scare tactics. Okay? So we don't pay collection agencies. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying not to pay your bills, right? But the Bible does says to owe no man but to love him. So we should not be accumulating debt for the sake of purchasing. If you can't afford it, you don't buy it. See my guitar over there in the corner? Not this one. I bought this guitar back and forth like 3 times. I would pay $30 a week to the man that had it, just so I could, because I'm like, I'm not gonna put it on a credit card. See, people don't understand is the whole American economy is based on debt. You apply for a credit card, right? You take that card and you go to Bloomingdale's and you purchase something. When is that money created?
When you start paying up.
When you purchase.
No, when you purchase. That money does not exist until you purchase. And so the system as it is designed is to keep people ignorant of the processes, and the people that have the information, they understand how to work the process. How many people can have their credit need their credit touched up, brushed up?
Me.
Who else?
Me.
Okay. There's so many things that you can do to, I hear somebody saying, teach a class about credit repair. I ain't doing that. There's so many things that we can do to eliminate the ability for the big 3 to really put things on your credit report. The first thing you have to do is block the secondary agencies that are in custody of your information and use it without your authorization. So you remove their ability to use that your information or provide it to other entities. That's the first thing you got to do. The second thing you have to do is you have to remove old addresses, because the accounts are tied to the addresses. If you remove the old addresses and you block the secondary and tertiary agencies, then no one can ever come back and say, well, yeah, we were able to verify this. And it avoids the long, arduous process of going back and forth with them by first doing these things. All right? So that was a nugget. That one was for free. And so this gives us the ability, the trust, the irrevocable trust, right? It gives us the ability, and we can tailor it for specific purposes, such as a charitable giving, special needs, planning, or life insurance trust, allowing for a meticulous management of financial goals and distribution. However, given the rigid nature of the irrevocable trust, it is essential to carefully consider the outline and the terms. So when you are going to sit with your attorney, right, to set up the parameters of how you're going to use your trust, you should sit down and ask the Lord to give you what components you want in your trust and who you're leaving what for. Because y'all know when y'all got that bag, cousin Buki, you ain't seen since you was 3, right? Be like, hey, cuz. That was a joke. I was hoping somebody would laugh. But anyway.
We're not thinking about the cousin Boogie that's coming out the woodworks.
All right. So when we are considering the trust, we have to choose between revocable and irrevocable based on the information that I've heard, we've read, and what we know now based on what we've talked about today. I believe the better choice is the irrevocable trust. Because like I said, if you have a new grandson, right? You have a new granddaughter, you want to add them as beneficiaries in the irrevocable trust, right? In the irrevocable trust, in what am I saying? In whichever structure that you use, it's going to depend on what you can add or what you can change. Like the revocable trust, you can totally annihilate it, destroy it, and that's it. Just do away with it. The irrevocable trust cannot be changed. Y'all understand that? The structure, the original structure cannot be changed. And so I believe by talking about this, we've already decided the best option for our families. I'm not going to ask each person individually what is the best option for your family, but we're going to have to choose. Now, I have an attorney in Atlanta. You can choose your own. That what I'm going to try to do is create favorable terms for us as a group once we start establishing what we're going to do with our resources once they accrue.